The morning. The morning come.
The morning come when they sum up every compromise. Open the eyes to the real accounting of the mountain. Cost of the stain and the weighing of the present against the sent forward version of the person. Possible beyond the band of the comfortable, familiar and the full weight of the decision. Land with precision on the chest of the confessed need for better.
I miss it with the quiet of the riot of the knowing and the showing of the truth. In the sloth of the pattern of the Saturn. Return of the same cycle and the recycle of the pain. Make the plain truth visible.
That the full account of the love given far exceed the star of the receive. The decision no arrive from the drive of the anger, but the stranger of the peace. Call the release of the L on and the shelf of the better. Life beckon from the reckon distance of the possible.
And the love
Of the self finally dwell.
past the love
Of the comfort
and the fort of the familiar.
crumble when the column of the world.
Give birth to the decision.
Choosing better, choosing better, putting on the weight, choosing better. Not too early, not too late. Every morning deserve the right love. Choosing better, rising high above the familiar of the wrong place. Choosing better, finding the right space for the self, for the self.
Worth the choosing.
Choosing better,
Nothing worth the losing.
of the self,
Nothing worth the losing.
of the self.
The last conversation carry the nation of the unsaid and the thread of the connection. Meet the section of the ending and the bending of the road away from the load.
Of the familiar and the similar. Morning after, morning of the laughter. Missing and the listening of the possible. Beckon from the full distance of the better. I'm a pack, the bagger, the love of the self and the shelf of the word. Give birth to the step of the kept promise to the mirror and the clearer version of the future. Pull the suture of the stain, past the weighing of the cost of the last opportunity of the better.
Me never leave from the grief of the bitter, but the glitter of the possible.
Beyond the full weight of the familiar.
Make the similar morning of the staying.
Feel like the pain of the price, of the sacrifice, of the self.
Worth
The shelf of the better, and the door of the more,
opening wide.
and the sin word
What become the sum of the courage?
of the storage of the self,
Love on the shelf.
of the worthy and the burner.
Walk away.
From the state of the wrong.
Carry this song of the free.
Choosing better, choosing better, putting on the weight, choosing better. Not too early, not too late. Every morning deserve the right love. Choosing better, rising high above the familiar of the wrong place. Choosing better, finding the right space for the self, for the self.
Worth the choosing.
Choosing better,
Nothing worth the losing.
of the self,
Nothing worth the losing.
of the self.
The morning after.
The morning after
Shenseea
of the chosen.
and the chosen.
Better carry
Better carry.
the extraordinary,
Breathe of the
ordinary,
peace of
the hell,
and the shelf.
of the self,
Worth the choosing.
and the losing of the familiar. The morning come when the sum of every compromise. Open the eyes to the real accounting of the mountain. Cost of the stain and the weighing of the present against the sent forward version of the person. Possible beyond the bond of the comfortable, familiar and the full weight of the decision. Land with precision on the chest of the confessed need for better. I miss it with the quiet of the riot of the knowing and the showing of the truth in the sleuth of the pattern of the Saturn. Return of the same cycle and the recycle of the pain. Make the plain truth visible, that the full account of the love given far exceed the star of the received. The decision not arrive from the drive of the anger, but the stranger of the peace. Call the release of the L on and on the shelf of the better life beckon. From the reckon, distance of the possible and the love of the self. Finally dwell past the love of the comfort and the fort of the familiar. Crumble when the column of the word give birth to the decision. Choosing better, putting on the weight, choosing better. Not too early, not too late. Every morning, deserve the right love. Choosing better, rising high above the familiar, of the wrong place. Choosing better, find the right space for the self, for the self, for the choosing. Nothing worth the losing of the self. Nothing worth the losing of the self. The last conversation carry the nation of the unsaid and the thread of the connection with the section of the ending and the bending of the road. Away from the load of the familiar and the similar. Morning after, morning of the laughter, missing and the glistening of the possible. Beckon from the full distance of the better. And me pop the backer, the love of the self and the shelf of the word. Give birth to the step of the kept promise to the mirror and the clearer version of the future. Pull the suture of the staying past, the way in of the cost of the loss opportunity of the better. Me never leave from the grief of the bitter, but the glitter of the possible beyond the full weight of the familiar. Make the similar morning of the staying, feel like the pain of the price of the sacrifice of the self. Worth the shelf of the better and the door of the more opening word and this in what become the sum of the courage of the story of the self. Love on the shelf of the worthy and the further walk away from the state of the wrong. Carry the song of the free. Choosing better, putting on the weight, choosing better. Not too early, not too late. Every morning, deserve the right love. Choosing better, rising high above the familiar of the wrong place. Choosing better, find the right space for the self, for the self, where the choosing. Nothing worth the losing of the self. Nothing worth the losing of the self, of the self. The morning after, Shenseea, the chapter of the closing and the chosen, and the chosen, and the chosen part of the Shenseea. Part of the Shenseea. Part of the Shenseea. Part of the